Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I don't know if you guys remember, but my name is Kushbu.
My name is Hassan Mustafa.
I'm Karthik Reddy.
Kenny Wynn.
Joanna Triangle and Sabrina Ramirez.
And we are from the CMC. So basically, everyone who joined us last week, before our last session, joined us basically when we were teaching you what it takes to crush your interview. Now, you all are here because not only did you crush your interview, but also you landed the job. So now, today, we're going to actually present part 2, which is our 5 most important recommendations on how to keep your job and ask for a raise. So we're going to go through our agenda real quick right here. First, we're going to start off with the game. We kind of want to loosen everyone up. Let's start having a little bit of fun. Then we're going to debrief. Then we're going to learn about company culture, how to talk and present yourself, how to have a positive professional relationship. Then we're going to have our second activity for the night. Then we're going to learn on how to convey conflict without taking it personally. Then we'll move on to how to ask for a raise, and then we'll have our Q&A session. I think you guys are in for such a whirlwind. This is a very, very, very exciting topic for us, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start off with our first game. So we actually want to start off with our first game, which is Heads Up. We're going to separate you guys into 2 groups. So if we could have a couple of people from this side move to the other side, just kind of even it out a little bit.
And we have the group that presented just now. Come on this side, please.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you. All right, thank you guys so much. So we actually have the game Heads Up on Joanna's phone. And basically the way you play this game, now has anyone played this game before I explain it? You have. Okay, why don't I have you, Hoa, explain how to play the game? I do have the instructions here, so just in case if you need help.
Yeah, I think you put the phone here, and
Yeah.
the other people try to do what is on the.
Yeah,
phone.
okay,
And
so
then you have
basically
to
you have the phone and it goes on your forehead. If you know what you're being described, then you tilt your phone down because you got it correct. And if you can't guess the word, then you have to tilt up and skip it. So we're gonna start off playing this game. So now that we have you guys in 2 different sections, we're gonna start off one side at a time and we'll do it 2 times. Once we're done with the activity, we'll actually go over why we're going into this activity, so we can kind of connect all these dots. So let's go ahead and get started, Joanna. Who from this side wants to have the phone on their forehead?
Who wants to be your team representative?
Yes.
Remember,
Thank
you're gonna have to describe the word without saying it. If you say it, that's.
Okay, so
So then
let's
the
go
person
ahead.
had to hold the phone must know what it is.
Kato.
Cato, okay, Cato's gonna have the phone. So Cato, can you come sit over here, please?
Are we doing the acting one? That's
Pull up
okay.
the
Yeah, we're playing the action. That's okay.
Yeah, but there's so many different genres.
We're doing the easy genres.
Okay.
It's a catchphrase.
Yeah, kind of.
So I'm doing it for this side?
Yeah.
So, no, actually, you're doing it for this side. So you're
Oh,
sitting over
okay.
here, but they're the ones who are going to give you the thing because you're on their team.
Okay.
And does that make sense? Yeah, because they are the ones helping him get to the answer. That's why. Yes, it's okay. Yeah, he's on their team and someone from this side is going to be on that team.
Oh, okay, now I get it. Okay, you can take whatever topic.
Okay, so you guys are going to have to help Cato figure out the word.
So basically, you guys are on Kato's team, and if you guys win, then you're gonna get a special surprise.
All right, we're acting it out.
You can't say the word itself to him.
What's the
We'll
genre?
say nothing.
You
What's the
guys
theme?
describe
So
it.
you're
Act it out.
describing the word to him without using the word, okay?
But what's the theme though?
Act it out.
Your
Act
Okay.
it out.
Act it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's too hard, tell me to skip it.
And remember, if you get it right, you do it down. Get ready.
Crying. Sad. Chop, killing.
No.
Chopping. Knife.
Vegetable. Vegetable. Crying.
Cutting meat.
Crying
hard?
vegetable.
You can't say words, you just have to act it out.
Is it too hard? Cutting, chopping, crying, onions. Cutting onions.
Yes.
Yes, your word.
Beep beep beep.
ATM machine. ATM.
Beep beep beep. Beep beep beep. No.
What is this? Do more.
Skip that one.
Oh, God.
Skip.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know that one. Phone, chatting, texting, plugging in your charger.
Yes.
Wait, look at that.
Is it like this?
Yeah.
It's like
I don't know.
Shooting pool.
Pool. Wow, that was hard.
Okay, so how many was that? 2? That was 2? Okay, now we're
That
gonna
was
have
tough.
someone
That
from
was
Can
really
you be
tough.
our volunteer? Okay.
Okay.
That was hard.
That was tough.
Alright, so we're gonna do another round.
Maybe the next round they get to explain it.
Actually,
Yeah, next round we'll do it. Okay, so you guys are on his team.
Diving into water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
No, just skip it.
Skip it.
Okay.
No, no.
No,
Oh,
wait,
did I
wait.
do 2?
Oh.
No, skip it.
Skip.
Skip.
Oh, somebody.
Typing, gaming.
Yes.
Gaming? Oh, playing games?
What kind of game?
Where do you play it?
Video games?
Pass, pass.
Pass?
Yes.
Pass.
Oh. Phew. Phew.
Here's your ear.
Yes. Oh.
Ascend into the sky?
No.
Look.
Gotcha.
Zombie.
Yes.
Alright.
Oh, well, we're done.
Skiing.
Yes. Okay, great job, you guys. Okay, you guys definitely won the first round, but we actually want to do one more round of this just so we can have a tiny bit more fun. So this time, instead of acting it out, why don't we verbally communicate with each other without using the words on the phone?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? Let's go, Kata.
Oh.
Oh, actually, you know what? Let's have someone new. Would you mind? Yeah, let's come sit here.
That's it.
tilt out for.
Up is skip.
Yeah. So up is skip, and then down is if you got it right.
Oh.
Okay.
Janitor.
Cleaning.
Don't
clean the
don't
say
say
words.
words.
Yeah, you're cleaning the
You don't.
floor.
No, I just
What
said
is
words.
this?
Oh,
You
you
say
words.
words.
Oh, you get
Yeah,
yeah.
the action when you clean the floor. Sweeping, mopping. Yes.
Mopping.
Okay, down.
Down.
Yeah.
You go to
TSA.
That's where you fly.
Flight check,
You have to
airport,
go through.
Yes.
pre-screening, security.
Yes.
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 Telescope.
look up at the
Stop.
sky.
Night.
Travis
Telescope,
Scott.
watching, night sky,
Good.
stars.
That's
Stars.
part of it.
Star Wars.
Another word.
Too
to look at.
many people.
You can
watching
verbally
and
speak
call.
too, so like to look at.
I don't
Okay,
know.
then skip it.
It's okay.
But you can't say the word inside the word.
Like
You're probably
razor is
gonna
a type of them. You're on.
Scooter?
Yes.
Yes.
It.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
It was it.
Kid
Joker.
What is it?
It is a word.
Joker.
The Joker. Pennywise. Pennywise.
That was fun. Okay, we want our last volunteer from this side.
How many points did they get?
Do Gonzalo.
The last
1, 2, 3.
Y'all got 3
Gonzalo.
points.
Okay, Gonzalo. Okay. All right, so this is your team. So get a little bit closer so they can see it too.
Oh.
You throw
Throw it like this.
Frisbee.
No.
Throw it, it comes back.
Yeah.
Boomerang.
Yeah.
Australia.
Put it down. Put it
Down,
down.
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 Again.
No. Slowly. You gotta
Yeah.
do it.
Slowly.
Just shake your head like
There
this.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh.
Cleaning.
When you're using a.
Cleaning, janitor.
clean-
Yes.
What are you using it for?
You said it. He said it. Yeah.
Yes, you got it.
Throwing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got it.
Oh shit. Skip.
No, just tilt it. Just tilt it.
There you go.
Oh, what the hell? Alright.
Oh, when
What do you do
your
with your
hair's like all
earbuds? What do you do
stuck
with your
together.
earbuds?
What do you do to fix it?
You tie your shoes.
If your earbuds are in your pocket, what do you do? No.
No.
If your earbuds are in your pocket, right?
When you comb your hair, why do you comb your hair?
It's really hard to remove it.
Okay. Oh, when you plug your
what are you doing
phone
in
in,
your
what
phone?
do you do?
Here, look at
your phone.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
Oh, we got 4.
Oh man.
Again. Oh wow.
Wow, you guys got 4 at the very last
Yay.
second. Good job.
Wow. Thank you guys so much for participating.
You guys are the
So
victors.
That was so much fun, guys.
that was
Here's
a ton of
the
fun.
prize for everyone that played, so pass it around, please.
All right, so basically what the whole point of this activity is really just to show you how important communicating really is when you want to get that promotion, when you want to keep that job. Communicating is the most important aspect to it, and the way you communicate really matters. Like we just saw how sometimes if we don't communicate the right words or the right body language, it really hinders us. So thank you guys so much for participating. That was a lot of fun. So I want to go ahead and debrief our verbiage for tonight. Stay hired is generally what people do when they are pretty content with their job. They're not rocking the boat at work, but you know they're liking what they're doing and grooving along. Get promoted is what differentiates people and what allows them to really take that next step forward in getting that higher paying position, that more executive position. So we're going to start off with company culture with Kenny tonight. There you go.
Thank you, Krishna. So, company culture. What is a company culture and how does it impact the workplace? A company culture is basically the personality of your company. It defines an environment in which the employees work. Company culture includes elements such as the working environment, ethics, mission, and goals of your company. It is the identity that is unique to that company. So according to Denison Consulting, company culture reflects lesson learned that is important enough to pass on to the next generation. It is what you do when no one is looking. Company culture also includes jargon, language, belief, ritual, and how people treat each other. So speaking of language and jargon, we're going to show you a video that would explain exactly how certain company uses language or jargon that is specific to them, and you can only learn if you're there.
Okay guys, let's get started, shall we? Right, I've called this all-hands meeting to get a bit of face time with you, as I think it's very important we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. We need to bring up our batting average and gain some traction. Darren, the ball's in your court.
Thanks, Sheila. Yeah, we need to put our best foot forward here. A multi-agency approach is what's needed. No solo thinking. So I'm reaching out to our colleagues across the pond to touch base, light up the flagpole and see which way the wind blows it, in the hope of getting them into feathers.
Right. Susan?
Well, with all due respect, Sheila, all that glitters isn't gold. We need to be careful to not just reinvent the wheel here. I mean, don't try and boil the ocean. If we're going to play hardball, we need income, not income.
You can't make an omelette without cracking some eggs. Can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
No, and you can't polish a turd.
I think you're barking up the wrong tree here. Look, we all know that there's an elephant in the room here. Certain someone has been dipping their pen in the company ink, and I'd just like to remind them not to get them where they make their bread.
We're not interested in your ear jobs, Terry.
Look, stop me if I'm driving beyond my headlights here, but it feels like we're rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. You can't just put your finger in the wind and call it due diligence.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Listen.
No, but some of us need to eat a reality sandwich. Sheila, can I stir-fry an idea in your think walk?
You can hum a few bars for me?
I might be skiing off piste here, but maybe some blue sky thinking is what's needed. We need to make sure we have a dog in this fight because there's brownie points to be had if you don't mind jumping through some hoops.
Could be another feather in your cap.
This is where the rubber meets the road, people. We're getting to the point where we either fish or cut bait on this one.
Stan, what do you think?
Well, I don't want to rub anyone's rhubarb, but I think that it's always better to kill two cats with one umbrella and than putting socks on octopuses. And if it ain't broken, then don't kick it. Because the world's your lobster.
Valid.
Okay, that was too much fun.
So how many of you think that Stan is new to the company? He didn't really have an idea what they're talking about. I mean, what is a rhubarb? It's a vegetable. So why is it important to learn the company culture? Because you don't want to be like Stan. You don't want to be the odd one out. So learning the culture is very important because you want to get along with your colleagues. You want to speak the same language. You want to do the same thing. So because the majority of the time is spent at work, so you want to create a nice environment where you can get along and fit in. So company culture is not always what's written in books or your company handbook. The majority of what you see here is under the iceberg. So this is a chart by Edward T. Hall. And according to Edward, 20% of what you see at your company that are written in the handbook is what is on top of the iceberg. And the unwritten rules and stuff, like the status and all that, is underneath the iceberg. So this is what is the most important thing that we're going to teach you today. So, to stay hired, now that you're hired, you want to stay hired. So we're going to teach you how to invest time into the company. Investing time is basically showing that you're dedicated. Come early to work, a little bit earlier than you would normally do after you work there for a while, and stay a little bit later. Join your colleagues for lunch. Go to happy hour with them because those are the times that you will hear about the unspoken language that you will not see on the day-to-day interaction. And when you go out with them, make sure, as Team 5 mentioned, to have good hygiene. Because nobody wants to invite you if you smell bad. You only have to invite yourself. So be a good citizen. Being a good citizen is someone who's dedicated to their work. You want to be an expert in your position. You want to do well. If you were assigned a task, make sure you complete it. And if your colleague is in need of help, make sure you assist. Be someone that they can rely on. And that is how you get recognized and become a good citizen. Adapt to change. So in the last session, we taught you how to adapt to the situation. Now we're going to teach you how to adapt to change. Adapting to change is basically incorporating a new culture. Because when you go to a new workplace, you may have worked somewhere else before, and you will bring that culture with you. So don't be closed-minded, because everywhere you work, they would do things differently. So if you bring your old culture, bring the good stuff, and leave behind what is bad. So adjust to change and adapt to change. Just pick up and embrace the new culture. So our company recently hired a guy. And he came from a very big company. And they do things completely different than how we do things. So the first week, he criticized everything we do. It's like, why do you guys do it this way? It should be done this way. It's better so-and-so. It's almost like somebody go to your house and tell you that your decoration sucks. No one likes to hear that. So after a while, he keeps doing it, and one day in our meeting, one of our colleagues that worked there for a while stood up and said, hey, if you don't like the way we do things, why don't you leave and go back to your old company? So the temperature dropped to 0. No one was talking. It is so uncomfortable. I mean, you don't want to be that guy, right? Because now no one likes you. And if people don't like you, they won't invite you out to happy hour. They may not want to help you if you're in need. So you don't want to be that guy. Adapt to the change and embrace the new culture of where you work. So that is how you stay hired. So to get promoted, not only are you supposed to invest time in your company, you need to invest time in your industry. Be the expert. Learn what's out there. Know what's current and what's trending. And that is how you stay ahead. And you will get promoted once that is noticed by your manager. Be a reliable expert. Be someone that already researched the market, know about it, and if there's a time when people need suggestion, then you would know what to tell them. And that is how you get promoted. Embrace the culture. As I mentioned, you can bring what's your past culture with you, but add on to what is current. Bring the good things and become an expert. Once you become an expert, people will respect you. And once they respect you, they will listen. And then you can change the culture from beneath. Because anybody can lead from below, but you have to be a respected expert first, or else no one will listen. Kushbu?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kenny. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to talk and present yourself. Sorry. Here you go. Get not mixed up. All right.
Alright, so I'm here to teach y'all how to talk and present yourself in the work environment. So this is very important. This is a very important skill because in essence, we often believe that when people see us and make judgments on us based on how we talk and act or appear, they often do it in a split second. That's why I'm here to teach you some skill sets on how to, and some importance on how to be proper and how to talk and present yourself. First thing most. Alright, check your attitude. This is very important because you often will be in a work environment and you will have a bummy attitude or a I don't care attitude, and this doesn't take you far. If you want to stay hired and see success in your lifestyle, you want to be positive and enthusiastic. You want to show your colleagues or your workers, your partners in work, and show them that you're willing to work with them and help them and provide them with any energy possible and show them that you're positive. Secondly, is look the part. Yes, that's right, look the part. This is very important because it's not all about talking and showing that you're good. If you're dressing to work like a bum, showing them that you're not it, and you're trying to just be like, yeah, I got slacks and slides, and I'm here to try. Who's gonna listen to you? Like, who wants to listen to a bum-looking person? You know, like you're just like, you know, my boss. Like, look, you got money, but you can't dress up properly. Like, come on, man. Thirdly, is listen before you speak. This is common etiquette. Like everybody knows that. Like growing up, like you should always listen to people before speaking. Even though as young scholars, we believe that we know a lot of things and we don't have to listen to people, but it can benefit you in multiple ways. For instance, you can apply some feedback and give them some information elsewhere, and in other words, you can also learn a thing or two from another person. That's why it's very important to listen to another person before you speak. Now let's talk about getting promoted. To get promoted, one way is to take initiation. If you take initiation in your work field, people are going to realize this person's taking power moves. Like he's willing to do anything, whatever it takes to be approachable and good vibes and good everything. You know, like you want someone that's willing to make moves and take initiative and be a great leader. That's who I look up. That's who I look up to. I see a person that's taking the next move, taking the next foot over to make the next move is very important. Next is organize relationships and build opportunities. This is very important when you're trying to climb the ladder in the workforce because when you're organizing and building a relationship with workers in your field, you want to build a strong bond with them because they could help you get bonus points and promotions and lead you to success in your work field. And I believe this takes you a long way. And lastly is acknowledge everyone. Yeah, acknowledge everyone is very important because just because you believe people that don't acknowledge people in their workforce and believe they're above them, is considered a shallow, like a ladder climber. They're called shallow ladder climbers. They believe that they don't need to acknowledge people just because they're better than them. This is a very ignorant mindset, and I don't believe it takes you anywhere. I think you should acknowledge everyone, and if you have a whole field of people that back you up, even though they're not at your same level, but they love you, that could lead to a higher success rate in your field. So, Kushu,
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isan. So yeah, now that Isan went through how to talk and present yourself, we're gonna actually just, you guys go ahead and jump into the next one. Positive professional relationships, because we really want to get to the core of this training session. Go ahead, Joanna.
Yeah, so when you're in a new workplace, you want to have a positive relationship with the people you work with, because you're going to be spending more and more time with them. So you want first be able to talk and communicate with your peers, so that they could able to come to you and talk to you efficiently about what they need to do for your work. Now, if you want to get promoted, one of the best ways to do is be able to have that open communication with your higher ups. I know from personal experience, I stood out more from my personal peers because I had no problem going up to my supervisor and even to his supervisors if I had a problem with something, or just to run by some ideas. And even when you're hired, I talked about in our last presentation how to have an open body language. To be able to bring in more people to talk to you, you want to keep that open body language, not just for the interview, but for the workplace in general. That way that brings in more people to know that you're able to listen to them, and you're able to bring that openness to the higher ups and be more approachable to them. And say, hey, my peer is having a problem over here. Can we have a solution over here? And you're able to communicate that way as well. And the last thing is to be reliable. No one wants to be the one who's not dependent on. They want to have someone who can know that they're going to show up to the meetings, or they're going to bring the paperwork or anything to improve their workplace. And another thing to get promoted is to be a resource. I know from Kushbu, you spoke to us about how someone from your workplace was a resource to your team. Can you go ahead and touch upon that for a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So we basically go through lots of different demos and presentations, and we're actually a really new team at my job right now. So what really helped out is that we actually have one person from 2 years ago who's been with the company for so long that she's able to help us really run all of these presentations. It helped us so much that she was able to step in when our manager wasn't able to have the bandwidth to, and actually it ended up leading her to being offered a team lead position. So just her being capable of going above and beyond for not only the company but her team, it really helped them want to push her up to that next level.
Thanks. So having these 3 qualities to get promoted is really important, especially if you want to get promoted and get that extra paycheck. So one quote that I like to reference is from Joshua Lee from Stand Out Authority. He turns around and says, I look for people who are completing their assignment and asking what next task they're going to be. They help their colleagues instead of stepping on them, and they're climbing up the ladder. I love to promote people on my team who rises the performance of everyone around them and not just themselves.
Right. That is really profound, you guys. Wanting to promote someone who raises the whole team and not just themselves. I really like that. So we're gonna move on to our next group activity. We're gonna play telephone. I would love for everyone to maybe sit next to someone that you haven't really talked to much, or you don't really talk to as much, just because I'd love to have some different dynamics. So why don't we take a couple, maybe a minute to shuffle around a little bit. We can kind of warm up. No? You don't want to shuffle at all? Just a little bit. That way you can at least sit down and you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, cool. So we are going to take you outside because you're going to know the OG phrase. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to, like it says up here, we're going to listen to the phrase you whispered from the person to your right, and you're going to whisper that phrase to the person to your left. And that's how we're going to do that. So let's go ahead and step outside. And then Karthik will give you a phrase. Okay, so we're going to give them just a couple of seconds. And I'm really excited about this activity because I can't wait to tell you guys why we're doing it too once we're done.
Have you guys played this game before as a child?
Yeah, as a child, right? Okay, so we will go long ways, okay? So you'll go back, you will actually have to go to the gentleman who's keeping time. And then we'll end with Kata. Okay?
Okay,
all right, we'll get started.
Hey, no cheating, so I'm trying to overdo it.
This is so much fun. Got everyone to wake up.
Yeah, right? I think we're bringing childhood memories back.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It goes over to Kata.
We should end with the professor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we will. We'll end with the professor. Oh, it's okay. That's actually bad.
I think the message changed.
Okay.
Is it my turn?
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, Professor, what do you think you heard?
Something about communication.
No, you say because you do last first.
Okay, go ahead. You
That's
say
what you heard.
What I heard was, quote, something about communication, end quote.
That's what I heard. That's it?
Okay, Karthik, give it to us. What was the actual quote?
Alright, the original phrase was business communication is the best communication.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
So half of the message were missed.
From there.
It's okay, that's cool. I mean, we made it kind of far. Now, the whole point of this activity is that our underlying theme, you guys, is communication. Being a people person. Being able to communicate will get you far. Look how far we made it tonight just by communicating with each other. We're just trying to show you fun, simple ways that you can take these things back to your own group projects. And when you play these games, these are little icebreakers. These are little group activity builders. This is what's going to bring you guys closer to being a better and more efficient team. If you have fun together, you're definitely going to work better. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next one, conveying conflict. I will go ahead and give this to Karthik. Oh yeah, I'm keeping it. And there you go, take the floor.
When you're working in the professional world, you always want to maintain good relationships with your coworkers and those you interact with daily. For example, as Joanna mentioned, you should be a resource for your team. Be able to handle additional tasks that may not be included in the main job description, but may put you above. Having these extra skills, soft or technical, give you value to others and raises your credibility. Sometimes you'll need a rebuttal or play devil's advocate against what you really think is the right way for things to function to gain credibility and persuade your coworkers without giving them a negative impression of yourself, and also open your mind to consider other people's point of views, which in turn will only make you a bigger asset. In the workplace, there's either a real or perceived unfair treatment, abuse, discrimination, the list goes on. Employees having to endure these conflicts without sufficient tools, resources, or support are destined to experience discomfort, and this distress can affect their work performance. It's so crucial to get experience that will help you maneuver or finesse the workplace dynamic. Consider what your coworker may be feeling. Avoid troublesome behavior and be there to help people. Being a person that is troublesome will prevent your coworkers from trusting you or coming to you with help, and in turn you're robbed of resources that you could have had. Once again, being understanding and open will make anyone feel like they can confide in you, and if executed properly, will be able to take criticism from you without feeling bitter at all. And next, I'll hand it off.
Back to me. Okay, I think we're gonna get into like the juiciest part of tonight, which is what we all want. We all want to ask for that raise. How are we gonna do this? Well, before I hand this off to Sabrina, we're actually gonna watch a video by Ramit Sethi. Now, he is a self-made financial advisor who actually went to Stanford, and he actually has a book out called I Will Teach You How to Be Rich. I actually am currently reading that book. I find it very interesting, and I find his thoughts of view, or his viewpoints on living your rich life very interesting. So he's actually gonna give us a little bit of a breakdown on how you ask the right way for a raise.
Ramit, I'm looking forward to semi-annual reviews at my firm and hoping to ask for a raise at that point. I'm planning to justify the raise by showing performance superior to my peers, increased responsibility and scope over the last 6 months, and a sharp uptick in my own talent base as a programmer. The caveat is that I work in finance, and from what I've heard, compensation is typically only discussed annually. Would asking for and either getting or being refused a raise at this time of the year hurt or help me during the bonus process? Do you have any tips regarding salary or bonus negotiations, etc.? So you work in a fairly structured environment. You work in iBanking. In general, iBanking is really, really structured, and you're not going to have much luck asking for a bonus outside of that. With that said, iBanking is one of the most structured places. In other words, they don't have a lot of flexibility at all. Most people, the reason I chose to answer this question was that most people who are on an annual review basis could actually get a raise during the year. Now, how do you do this? There's a few ways of doing it. First of all, I cover this in chapter 9 of my book, How to Get a Raise. The main points in that chapter, by the way, you'll see the exact scripts to use, the timing, etc. The main things you want to think about are what does your boss want? Okay, you need